Welcome back to another episode of Therapy Tidbits. My name is Ramsey Dean, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. In today's video, we are going to be talking all about the skill of cognitive diffusion and how you can use it to get relief from negative or distressing thoughts. So what is cognitive diffusion? Cognitive diffusion is a concept from acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT, and it's all about creating distance between yourself and your thoughts. So what exactly does this mean? For example, let's say you have the negative thought, I'm a failure. If you are fused to this thought, then that means you accept it as fact. You might feel sad or depressed, and these negative feelings might impact your behavior. You might avoid taking opportunities or risks, for example, because you have this core belief that you are actually a failure. When you are fused with your thoughts, they become over-controlling and they prevent you from seeing other options. Now, if you are familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, then you might be familiar with the concept of cognitive restructuring. This is where you basically just push back against and challenge your distorted thoughts. So for example, a CBT approach to dealing with I'm a failure would be to examine all of the evidence and then come to a more balanced conclusion. So you might say to yourself, well, okay, I messed up this time, but in the past, I've done really well. I've gotten good grades, I've done well at my job, I've been a good friend, and so on and so forth. From there, you might come up with a new thought that looks something like, I messed up this time, but that's okay. I can do better in the future. Cognitive restructuring is a great way to challenge distorted thoughts and not let negative thinking patterns control the way you feel. But this method of arguing back against your thoughts doesn't always work for everyone. For example, sometimes I work with clients who in that scenario would come up with every example of when they actually did fail at something. And then that restructuring process actually causes them to spiral into even more negative thinking. If this is relatable to you, let me know down below in the comments. Cognitive diffusion can be a great alternative to this because instead of arguing with your thoughts, diffusion teaches you to simply notice them and observe them without becoming entangled in them. Think of hearing a radio playing in another room when you're reading a book. If you're focused on the book, you'll definitely hear the radio, but you won't actually be listening to it. That's similar to the experience of diffusing from a thought. You're aware of the thought, you know it's there, it hasn't gone away, but you don't get sucked into it. Cognitive diffusion is about allowing your thoughts to come and go without being engulfed by them. You might be thinking, okay, that's all fine and well, but how do you actually do this? I'm going to give you 3 easy exercises you can try in order to start practicing cognitive diffusion in your daily life right away. The first exercise is called external voice, and here's how to practice it. The next time you have a negative thought, say to yourself, I'm having a thought that ... So for example, instead of saying, I'm a failure, say to yourself, I'm having the thought that I'm a failure. Doing this creates some space between you and your negative thought. It might sound simple, but this reframe of I'm having a thought ... sends a reminder to your brain that you are separate from your thought. Using external voice reminds you that just because you have a thought doesn't mean you have to buy into it. The second exercise is called the PopUp Locker. The next time you're having a negative thought, imagine it's like an internet pop-up ad. As the thought pops into your brain, imagine reaching up and clicking the X to close the window. Now, if the negative thought returns, do it again. Imagine reaching up and clicking the X, watching the thought disappear. Personally, I find it helps if you actually do the hand motion with it, but if you're not alone, this might look a little strange. Either way, the more you practice the pop-up locker exercise, the easier it is to just close out of those negative thoughts. The third exercise is called the funny voices trick, and you're definitely gonna wanna be alone for this one. This is where you say the negative thought out loud over and over again using different funny voices. So for example, if you have a thought that I'm a total loser, you literally would say out loud, I'm a total loser. I'm a total loser. I'm a total loser. I'm a total loser. Now this might sound silly, but after doing that a few times, I want you to ask yourself, what do you notice about the power of this thought now? Is it as painful or uncomfortable as it was before you did the exercise? Probably not. All right, before you go, I want to give you a quick pro tip for practicing cognitive diffusion. And I want to share one quick bonus exercise. Okay, for the pro tip, You don't have to only practice diffusion with negative thoughts. A great time to actually start practicing these exercises is when you're having neutral thoughts. It'll be a lot easier for you while you are new to this skill to try it out when you're not under distress. And that will make it easier to use when you are actually having painful or unwanted thoughts. Now, the quick bonus exercise I want to give you is called leaves on a stream. Here's how it works. When a negative thought pops up, imagine placing it on a leaf on top of a gentle stream and watching as it drifts away and disappears. Spend some time just doing this over and over again for any thoughts that pop into your head. This is a great exercise to do while meditating, and there are many different guided versions of this activity on YouTube. I'll link a few of my favorites down in the description box. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Therapy Tidbits. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.